We are all set. Welcome to this special edition of Fired Up. Our regular show appears, a new show on Tuesdays on YouTube at Fired Up with Bob Irwin. It's about guns, politics, and self-defense. We're broadcasting here from the gun store. This is a special edition we're putting out now on a Thursday evening for the first showing. It'll be on YouTube for a long time, but we needed to put something in because of the recent mass shooting that has taken place in the United States at San Bernardino, and we've had a few others, but this one is apparently clearly a terrorist operation. And it kind of stands on its head everything we have trained people to do over years and years. So when we're now facing not a criminal, but we're facing a terrorist who has decided that he's simply there to kill everybody, a lot of the things we teach firearms people and concealed carry holders don't apply because this is war. So I wanted to just do a show on this new reality. I will explain to people who have not seen the show before. I'm Bob Irwin. I have a 40-year background in training firearms and use of force to civilians, police, security officers, and so on. I've written several books. On our website, Fired Up with Bob Irwin, you will find a resume on me and on Maggie and on Lenny, who is with me today. For this special show, I have these two folks on for particular reasons. Lenny Davis has trained people in anti-terrorism tactics and security and so forth for years for the Department of State. Maggie Mordaunt is a prolific trainer of civilians and holds every NRA certification known to man. And in discussing what was going on, we realized that what we're teaching to the general population doesn't apply. So we're going to use this show to correct that. Lenny, if I could have you give a little bit of your background, a little more than usual, because this is going to be kind of a freestanding show here.
I'm Lenny Davis. I'm a retired special agent with U.S. Customs and Department of Homeland Security. I ran during my time with U.S. Customs. I was a tactical team member and a supervisor for the special response teams for U.S. Customs in a couple of different offices for Customs. After spending 31 years in the federal government, I retired. I've been working for the Department of Homeland Security Department of State since 2008 as an instructor in the Global Anti-Terrorism Assistance Program. I go all over, like Bob said, I go all over the world. I teach anti-terrorism to friendly governments. I've been done a lot of traveling. This is not my first rodeo. Seeing this has come here, and I've been spending time since 2008 really trying to help guys and other law enforcement agencies throughout the world deal with this exact problem. This is new to us, but it's not new. It's new to U.S. law enforcement, but not new to some of the other groups that I've taught. So that's kind of my background.
Been there, done that.
A couple of them. Got the T-shirt, bumper sticker, and the hat.
And Maggie.
Yes. I am, like you said, I do have multiple certifications through the National Rifle Association. What that really gives me is kind of like a baseline of where to start the new shooter. But I train military, also law enforcement as well, and defense training. I've trained with some national and international instructors. And my basic instruction that I have right now, my new thing that I'm launching is Combat Citizen Workshop, and that's what I've been teaching our military. Now, like Lenny was saying, you know, we have a new sort of fight on our hands, and we really have been training in my company. We've really been training a lot on the new type of crime that's coming up in our country, and that includes the terrorism. So we've really kind of strayed away from the antiquated training. We're more progressive and getting into the defense training. And when we have someone who wants to take a CCW class, like we were talking about before, we go above and beyond. We really set them up for the success with their firearm, not just the basic CCW class, but more advanced and how to use their firearm in a defensive situation.
Okay. That's the point of the show. At some point in time, it is obvious that it's certain there will be additional attacks by terrorist people in the United States. They will attack schools and shopping malls, sporting events, any mass gatherings where they can find a soft target. That's where we go into a different type of defense here. And I'll leave you to start off a little bit with that one.
Well, I mean, you're fighting if you haven't guessed, folks, you probably saw the first strike. I think that's being really recognized as a war on our own soil. This is going to happen again. I was on this show 2 weeks ago. After Paris, Bob asked me to come in and express my viewpoints on that. And I said very clearly then, it's not if, it's when, and it's only a matter of time for it to happen. I actually didn't think it was going to take 2 weeks, but it came. That's where we have to separate the fact of we're not fighting, and like Maggie said, the new crime. This isn't a crime. This is war. This doesn't fit into, gee, we're gonna please drop the gun and let's make a deal and I'll go back to prison. These people are here to have a body count. It is the same stuff that I've been training guys overseas to deal with for several years now. They've done it. I've got friends in Tunisia, the Philippines, Jordan, Indonesia, everywhere. I've got these great guys that have done this, and they go above and beyond what we are looking at, and we've been really lucky. And now it's here, and now you have to deal with it. And how we deal with it, law enforcement's going to be going through. Bob and I were talking earlier off camera that this is going to be that moment like SWAT teams were. I was very, very very active in the teams then when Columbine hit.
Right.
And our whole perspective is how tactical teams and law enforcement worked was completely different. We rolled up to a scene like that. We had to wait till we got the guys. We tried to get as much information. It was, sort of sit, wait, and talk. Let's figure out what's going on. We realized after Columbine, every few seconds that you wait is the potential for a body to be going, somebody to be killed. It's an active shooter. This is an active shooter on steroids. This is not a mentally ill person or a disgruntled employee that goes in and is mad and he kills people and then he waits for the cops to show up to kill him. I was at home yesterday when I heard this. I turned the TV on, saw the law enforcement response to an active shooter. And I went, what is this building they hit? It's a medical type of medical training or a treatment facility, a treatment facility for disabled people. It has even probably less security than a hospital would. It is a soft target. Then when I heard that these guys had shot for several minutes, killed several people, wounded several people, and got away, I went, this was a terrorist attack. I knew in my heart of hearts.
This is something we have never faced before. When we're talking about soft targets, the term we're using is areas that they can go in and freely shoot people without fear of interruption, that are not well secured because they're public areas, they're public parks, they're, whatever. They're looking obviously for gun-free zones. They want to kill as many people as possible. If somebody's going to shoot back, they don't want to be there. What they did in Paris and so forth. I mean, this is always gun-free zones. So the first piece of advice we're going to give out here is to avoid hanging around or going to soft targets. If there's a sign in front that says no guns allowed and there's no security there, means you can't carry your gun and nobody's going to be there to defend you. If you see a metal detector, so they're allegedly screening people for weapons, and there's not an armed officer there, it's a waste of time. If somebody goes through with a gun, he's just going to get himself shot. He can't protect you. An unarmed, I think Colonel Grossman was the one that coined the phrase, if you have an unarmed security, you have a hall monitor.
Yes.
Yeah, some of them try hard. We've had some try, but an unarmed guard cannot protect himself, let alone protect you and your family. So you need to get paranoid about this and not go to those places, particularly large public gatherings. They're going to be the target. There's going to be more. There's a basic scenario I'm going to have my two guests discuss, because what we're talking about here is that first part was not getting caught in one of these things, because you simply are so paranoid that you're not going to go there. When you see those warning signs, you know, big public gathering, lots of children, lots of happy people, and no security, don't go there. If you're caught in one, you're in that zone and suddenly there's an active shooter that is shooting people. First possibility, run. You need to get out of the area, get away, run. When you enter the venue, look around. See where the exits are so you know which way to run. But, you know, we do a basic new thing now, which is run, hide, and fight. If you can't get away, you're in an area where there are no exits that you're aware of, or you don't know where the exits are.
Or you don't know where the shooter is.
Yeah. You hear noises, but you don't know if you're running into him or away from him. One of the problems at the San Bernardino shooting was somebody pulled a fire alarm.
Right.
And normally we tell people to do that if there's crime going on, because you get first responders immediately. But what that causes is everybody in their offices to run out into the hallways where they become targets.
Well, and
They're funneling everybody into the firing line.
And from what I understand, this very center had a month or so before a active shooter drill, and that's exactly what they did, was pull the fire alarm to activate an active shooter. If you're going to have an alarm in your building, you probably we're going to have to really look at things differently from here on out. But we're going to have to look at, is an alarm for a fire or is an alarm for a active shooter? They need to be two different systems. They need to have completely different sounds. They need to go, instead of necessarily to the fire department, it maybe needs to go to the police department, you know, immediately, that kind of thing. And it's really, you know, we just had this discussion last night at dinner with some friends, and, you know, they asked me, well, you know, hey, we go to church and we're worried about the church. And I said, know where you're going to sit where you can get out, you know, and sit where you can, and not only that exit, but maybe some other exit. It's kind of like when they're talking, when the flight attendant's talking on the airline, you know, you got to know both exits, know where there's more than one, and know how to get there.
Because in this case, the bad guy could be coming in the exit you're trying to go out.
Exactly. Or
have it covered. So you're going to run. If you can't run, you hide, meaning different floor, different height in something that closes, a door that locks behind you, hopefully, and stay there till help arrives. Don't go out looking to see what's going on. Just stay put. They found people in these active shooter things that were still hiding 2 days later.
Yeah, we were talking about that when I was here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, when the police finally found them.
Yeah, Bardo Museum in Tunis, Tunisia, earlier this year, in March of this year, two guys, active shooters, AK-47s, came in, killed 19 people. They found a couple that had hidden in an area in the museum. And Bardo's a huge museum. It's a beautiful place. And these people were found 2 days later when the police were still searching that area. If you're going to hide somewhere, barricade yourself in the office. Barricade the door. Turn your cell phone off, or turn your pager, or pagers. I'm kind of dating myself, I guess.
Yeah.
Turn your cell phone off. Don't let it ring while somebody's looking for you. Make sure that's in there. Please don't take your camera and stick it out the door to get that beautiful piece of video. So CNN will pay you $10,000, because you will get yourself shot up.
Yeah, you definitely want to evade, barricade, and fight if necessary. Trying to be the person who saves the day. The best thing to do is just to try to get yourself in a safe place, and anybody on the way, take them with you. Don't try to be a hero. Law enforcement will arrive, military will arrive if necessary, depending on the type of criminals that we're actually dealing with, whether they are homegrown or terrorists who are coming to take you out. Because, like you said, they're not here to rob you anymore. These are criminals who are out to take life. They're here to prove.
You can't surrender to them, and they'll keep you safe.
No.
Yeah,
They will kill you.
They're not wanting to take hostages.
No.
This isn't the old, okay, I'm going to get on the airplane and fly me to Havana. They're not taking hostages. They're taking a body count.
Oh yeah.
That's what they want, is a body count. They don't want hostages. They're not going to negotiate, because they know we're never going to let them. If the FBI shows up and every counterterrorism police officer and the Fed and the police officer in the world shows up and negotiate, they're still going to go to federal prison. They know there's no way out. They want a body count. They want to strike that fear. That's what terrorism is about.
They're on a mission to take lives.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're in that position, you have not got a place to run, you have to hide, or they find you when you're hiding, or there's no place to hide, fight. They are going to kill you. Put some dents in them before they do that. If you were able to carry your concealed firearm into this place, Maggie will talk about that a little bit, but you're dealing not with a criminal that you can point the gun and say, drop the AK or I'll shoot you. They're going to shoot you. You can't bribe them with, I'm the U.S. Attorney's cousin and I can get you off. They don't care about our legal system. So if you're stuck where you need to use your gun to defend yourself, do that. He's got a bigger gun probably. You may win, you may lose. Perhaps the distraction of you fighting will let somebody else escape. But as I used to tell my police academy students when I was teaching, if you've lost the gunfight, you look down and there's a 12 gauge hole where your heart used to be. You've got 10 or 12 seconds before you black out. You might as well take him with you. If you're going to die, do as much damage as possible to the terrorists before you do. You may help other people escape. You'll certainly help slow him down. If he's going to give up his life and he's going to kill you, you might as well do some good with what few seconds of life you have left. Fight.
It's not like the movies. It doesn't take just one shot. Like Bob was saying, you could actually really be someone who could take down a terrorist or a criminal from doing any more damage to anybody else. If anything, you're going to probably shock them in your position of not stopping. What they want to do is they want to control you. They want to have control over you. They want to feel like they've won. You need to not let them win. Never give up and never surrender. Use whatever you can, whether it's a pen or a cup or something, a chair. Use something. If you don't have a firearm or a knife or any other type of weapon, anything can be used as a weapon. A chair or anything. Shoes or hands and feet. Take them down. Take their gun away from you. You may totally surprise them and not giving up or just standing there and going, please don't shoot me. That's the first thing they want to do is they want to own you. They want to take you down. It is a superiority complex that they have, that they are right and we are wrong. And what they're there for is a good thing in their psychotic brains. And again, don't give up. Take them down. you may survive.
And carry your gun 24/7.
Yeah.
We're the largest trainer here of concealed weapon holders in the state of Nevada, and I can't tell you how many students come in who tell me when they've had their permit for 5 years and they have to renew it, that they only carry their guns when they're going to places that are dangerous. That has changed. Every place is dangerous. Carry your gun 24/7. If it's too big to do that, get a smaller gun. Any gun is better than no gun. Carry your gun 24/7. Make a habit out of it. You can never guess correctly when you're going to be attacked.
Most,
We used to
most
have
definitely, yeah.
safe areas where nothing's going to happen here. Those have gone away. These guys are looking for the safe areas.
And,
Oh, yeah.
and I want to address something I saw today. One of the networks had a gentleman on, and he was from one of the, of course, anti-gun lobbies, and he's saying, of course, that, you know, a good guy with a gun is just more problems. It's not going to stop anything. It's not going to save you. It's going to get you killed. That is bovine feces. Here's the thing. If you've got a gun, and he made a point in his statement this morning, he said, well, these people had body armor on. They couldn't have been stopped. Well, one, they didn't have body armor on. They had a load-bearing vest where they held their magazines. It didn't stop bullets. It wouldn't stop bullets any more than a sport coat would. Even so, even if a person has body armor, police officers are killed, soldiers are killed all the time with hits around the body armor. You got to put hits on this. I have lived through 2 shootings where I have been shot in the body armor. It is not pleasant, okay? It's not like, oh, I got shot. It hurts like hell. It breaks your concentration. If you can break this guy's concentration, even if he is wearing body armor on, and you put hits on him, you're going to break his concentration. We see a lot of times these guys, they're really, really hardcore guys when they're up there with their gun and they're shooting unarmed civilians. But you take one of those people and he turns around and starts firing back, it's a whole new ball game. We see it a lot in law enforcement. I've been a law enforcement firearms trainer since 1980. We saw it for years before we did simunition training, force on force training. You know, you'd be on the range, you'd shoot, and you never worried about it. Then all of a sudden, we started doing simunition training where you were shooting paint bullets back at each other, and it hurt, and you got hit. You went, you know, there's maybe something I should do, like get to cover and do that kind of thing. So, you know, don't let some idiot who, frankly, just doesn't know what he's talking about say, no, don't. You having a gun is not going to be a good thing. You having a gun is your own. You're your own first responder. Okay. Yesterday, I believe that I was listening last night. The chief of police said that from the time they got the first 911 call, they put the first officers on the ground in 4 minutes. 4 minutes doesn't sound like much until somebody's shooting at you with an AK, or in this case, an AR-15. Any kind of weapon.
Which takes seconds.
Yeah. So 4 minutes is a lifetime. And you can't wait for the cavalry all the time. And if they get a situation where they put you, where you can't get away from these people, you can't hide from them, and you've got a weapon, fight. Like Bob said, don't stand there and take it. Take them with you.
There may be somebody else there with the courage to fight too, and they'll jump on the guy when you jump on the guy. You know, maybe there's 2 or 3 armed people and they're afraid to start, and they're cowering, and they'll realize and follow your example, and you can take all of them out. You never know. But if I do know this, these people are there to kill you. They're going to kill you. You have to do something. While we're on that, I want to talk about a program most law enforcement have. We have it here in where I live in Las Vegas. If you see something, say something. An amazing number of people come out after these shootings, and you've seen it over and over again on the school shootings and this and that. where the moron goes on the news and said, I know there was something wrong with that boy. He was going to do something like this. And all of us knew he was crazy, and he was always fondling that gun and glaring at pictures of whatever. And they come and say that on the air after the guy's killed several people.
You had it yesterday in San Bernardino.
Yeah.
You had a neighbor said, you know, they've been getting some packages. They've been doing a lot of work at night. They've been kind of standoffish. Even some of his own relatives said, you know, we saw the change in appearance. He started growing the beard, and he started to be more disconnected. But these guys were building. These guys had an IED factory in their garage.
Yeah.
Okay. They were building bombs. IED, if you don't know what it is improvised explosive device. You know, they refer to them as pipe bombs yesterday. So I'm sure that they're very easy to make. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the show after Paris. There's a homemade explosive called TATP. It's relatively easy to make. It doesn't need you don't need a chemical engineering background to put it together. You need a kitchen, and you need a little time. The Tsarnaev brothers were lazy. They went and bought fireworks and emptied the fireworks out for the gunpowder for the Boston bombings. You know, you got to say something. If you see a package, I see it all the time. We talked about it again a couple of weeks ago that I do a lot of traveling throughout the world. There are some places in the world that I've traveled that if you got up from you're sitting in the boarding area and you're waiting to get on that airplane and you left your hand carry bag there, and unless you got some guy, you know, one of your friends saying, would you do that? There will people call the police if you just get up and like walk 5 feet away, because they're like so in tune to people leaving bombs and those kind of things. So if you see something, say something. Folks, you're not going to put anybody in jail, okay? If they're doing, you know, if they were doing their kids' science project and they weren't making bombs in the garage, the police came over there, investigated it, or the FBI or ATF, and they go, oh, well, we're building the volcano for our kids' science project. Fine. Nobody's going to say anything. They're probably, I can tell you, law enforcement's going to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Yeah, and the consequences of not reporting are
14 bodies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're huge. If you see something like that looks suspicious to you, call 911 if you want to do it from a payphone so nobody knows who, and just say, I don't want to give my name. This is what I saw, and somebody needs to look at this, and hang up. You know, that's what the police need, so they can go at least knock on the door and go, hi, folks, what's going on? There are huge consequences for the misses. And please be aware of that next time you see one of these morons on TV saying, I knew they were going to do this.
Exactly. We all have to be in this together. You know, this is our country. It's not, this is my house, that's your house. You know, we're all living on the same soil, and we need to protect it. You know, getting involved is what's going to save lives. How would you feel if someone said down the road, well, yeah, I saw that person was going to burn your house down, but I didn't want to get involved. You know, it doesn't mean that you're going to commit your entire life to it. Say something, you know, protect someone, protect your community. This is our country. We need to wrap our hands around it and protect it. You know, it's a huge thing when somebody comes out and they stop something. I mean, I wish that they would put on the media all the people that do stand up and do something.
We actually do that every week on the regular show.
Yeah, I know it's done here, but you know, it needs to be more. People need to understand that we live in such an antisocial society. I mean, hello, you know, get off of your cell phone and realize what's going on around you. Be a part of the community. Don't be a zombie. You know, wake up.
Hey, don't pick on zombies.
The last thing that I really wanted to cover on the outline is be aware we're dealing with these terrorist attackers now, not common criminals. There is virtually always more than one. When they do the organized attacks, there's one you'll see, there's another one, there's a layoff guy in the crowd. They had several of them in Paris. When you take out the one guy, remain vigilant. There may be another one in the next room waiting in the car. I just left to set off a bomb someplace else as a distract, all sorts of things. When you get control of the situation, stay put, keep the guy there. If he ain't dead, beat on him some more so he stays put. There are always the risk of more people than you can see. That's true with normal law enforcement. It's also true here. We've had a lot of lone wolves in the United States. Now we're getting the serious ones. There's more than one, and they can cause an awful lot of damage.
Well, and I sometimes we use the term lone wolf, but sometimes like they referred to these people, this husband and wife, and so far that they're lone wolves. They're not lone wolves. Somebody did a very, very good job in training them. They spent some time, the FBI and all the intelligence services are right now, they're working with everybody in Saudi Arabia and Pakistan for sure about who they saw, where they went, what was going on with them. They received some training somewhere. They were very good at what they did. I will not be surprised. They say so far that it was only those two involved. I was shocked. I will be shocked if it comes out that there was not somebody driving that vehicle when they first went in to do that attack. That's if it wasn't, it was very stupid on their part because somebody could have blocked them in when they came out to escape, and they could have, ended everything right there, which I don't think really mattered to them. But it really chilled me to the bone yesterday when I'm sitting there and they're going, there's all these police officers from all those agencies and all the tactical teams, and everybody's moving in and they're searching the buildings. And when the PIO lady came out from the sergeant came out from San Bernardino PD and said the subjects are not here, they're gone. That chilled me to the bone, because that wasn't like I said earlier, it wasn't a disgruntled employee, that wasn't a suicidal kid who played Dungeons and Dragons in his room and now he's mad at the world. It was a terrorist attack. It was well planned. It was well executed. And there was just 2 of them. What if there'd have been 10 of them?
2 of them with 14 dead so far, and all the wounded people, and all the families now that are taken apart by this. Our hearts go out to these guys, but the purpose of this lecture you're getting is to make you aware this can happen. Carry your gun. If you can't carry a gun, have a knife, have a bottle opener, have a box cutter, have
a taser if you're allowed, anything.
But just be aware of your surroundings. If it doesn't look right to you, trust your instincts and don't go.
Right.
When you see the sign in front of the movie theater that says no firearms, go somewhere else. Those signs draw the terrorists in, and this, like I said at the beginning of this show, this isn't the only attack. There are going to be more, and despite the assurances from Washington that we're getting on the news that all of these, it's all okay and we got it handled and da 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 da. I don't believe that for a minute. And how could anybody say that with a straight face?
Well,
we've got all these terrorist organizations trying to attack America because we're the great Satan or whatever. And no problem. Don't worry, folks. We'll protect you.
Not true.
You have to protect yourself and your family. Pay attention. Don't go to places that look dangerous. Trust your sixth sense. When you see something weird, go someplace else. And while you're on your way out the door, call somebody on your cell phone and say, this didn't look right. Somebody had to go check, click.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, these are new waters that we're treading, and I know that we are on high alert. You want to create your new normal. If you are going to be carrying a firearm, you want to purchase the firearm that fits you well. Not everybody's the same. Come to the gun store and test fire some guns. Purchase clothing that you can wear so you can either conceal carry your firearm or get purses that you can carry or backpacks, just depending on what your comfort level is, and then train with your new normal. You've got to do things more intuitively so that it comes more naturally to you. Get to the range more often.
Training is the key. If you remember the attack that took place in Texas, where the two terrorists decided to hit that Islamic, whatever they were having a
Cartoon
contest,
contest, yeah.
making a cartoon of their prophet. And they happened to run into a Texas cop.
A 60-year-old man.
Two guys with AK-47s, and he killed them both.
Well, he's from Texas. That's where I'm from.
That is training and practice. And that's why it works. It isn't the guy with the fanciest gun that wins. It's the guy with the most skill that wins. And I'm doing this show because I'm looking at all the stuff I've taught to all these police cadets over the years that say, drop the gun and I won't shoot you, and that just doesn't work anymore. This is a whole new breed of cat we are dealing with.
Do you ever see in any war movie that you've ever seen, very seldom in a battlefield situation, do you see you never saw Audie Murphy going, "Oh, drop the gun, German"? No.
We just did that in Syria someplace where we dropped a bunch of leaflets on ISIS to tell them to run because we only wanted to blow up their trucks?
That's for another show, Bob.
Oh, okay.
But what I'm saying is you're in combat with these people. These people are in combat, okay? These people were trained. I don't know where they got their training. We'll find that out eventually. I know where it's going to happen. And the biggest thing is, people, you got to wake up. Our leadership's got to wake up. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago when I was on the show about Paris. There was a young man in California about 10 days before then. So it's been about a month ago. At the same time in Israel, the week before in Israel, they were having all these instant knife attacks. These guys were coming up, they were coming to police officers, they were coming to people in soft targets, and they were coming out, pulling out a knife, hacking them up. And of course, the police would show up and they would get killed. This kid did it a week later in California on a college campus, and nobody said it was a terrorist attack. He was just a misguided youth. Yeah, he probably was. He was maybe radicalized over the internet. I don't care. He committed a terrorist act in doing exactly what the Hamas followers were doing in Israel the week before. This is going to happen again. My friends in Tunisia have suffered through this. They just had a guy with an IED kill 12 of the presidential guard getting ready to go to work. They had 2 active shooters from this year in March and July. Those guys, and I'll tell you, you've got to, if you want to see somebody, folks, if you want to see somebody that really wants to make sure that their country survives, go to Tunisia. The police are pouring their hearts out there. The people are pouring their hearts out. They're seeing things. They're saying things. They're doing anything they can. And this is a country that you can't possess firearms unless you're police or military. And they're doing things there. And my heart goes out to them. I talk to my guys all the time. And in fact, one of them got a hold of me today over the internet. He asked me what happened, and I said, we had our Seuss, or we had our Bardot, and that's exactly what it was. It was a terrorist attack.
You have to be right. And a note on ending here. I had a reporter today, actually earlier today, for a local media here, asked me about the San Bernardino case, and the reporter said, well, apparently they had AR-15 rifles of some sort. Aren't those illegal in California? Of course they're illegal in California.
They had illegally high capacity magazines, which were illegal in California.
And I said the criminals, particularly terrorists, don't obey gun laws.
No.
So when gun laws are going to save us from this, they're not. You need to be able to defend yourself. Please take care. Pay attention to your surroundings. get some training. If you've got a gun that you already have, practice with it somewhere. Maggie's got classes all over at the shooting park here locally and so on, but
Yeah, I would say that if you're going to practice with a firearm, you need to know what to practice. So anybody can be effective in taking ammunition, loading it in the gun, and then making pew-pew noises with it. You've got to know how to utilize your firearm in a defensive fashion. And so the way we teach our classes is how to use your firearm defensively. You know, safety is a skill. Stepping off the X, making sure you're not a frag magnet here. You know, we are looking at places where you can carry your firearms, utilizing that gun in the home, outside the home, and then also finding out what the policies are in your workplace of if you can even carry a firearm in your workplace, or what other type of weapon can you utilize in that workplace, so that when you do evade barricade and then have to maybe use a weapon to defend yourself, because if you are found, and there's a possibility you will be found, and then that's when Bob was saying, and so was Lenny saying, hey, don't give up. You've got to shoot to stop the threat, fight to stop the threat. Don't let them win.
ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for tuning in to this special edition of Fired Up. We are on YouTube, new show every Tuesday, talking about gun laws and things, but this show will stand as a separate item. It's going out to a number of blogs across the country, mainly because looking at this event, I'm looking at what we've been teaching for the last 30 years, and drop the gun or I'll shoot doesn't work. It's time for new thinking with this new threat.
We're working with the unconscious conscience who doesn't care about who you are and how it affects your life or your country.
And like my company, Extratics, we got the phone rang off the wall yesterday with people wanting us to come and teach them not so much firearms, but what to do in this situation. And it's going to happen. And you know, get some training, folks.
There's lots of things you can do even without a gun.
Oh yeah.
Run, hide, fight. That's the new force continuum for everybody.
And if you're a videophile, go on YouTube. The Department of Homeland Security a couple of years ago made a video called Run, Hide, Fight. It's very informative. It's very well done. Watch it. It takes 6 minutes out of your life. It may save your life.
We also do home defense. We come to your house and show you how to utilize your own environment.
Thank you, folks, for tuning in to Fired Up. Hope you'll become a regular viewer. I hope you got something out of this show. Thanks for watching.